Hello my babes, welcome back to my channel and merry 2025. I absolutely swear by hobbies, and I have the belief that you have to ultimately, to become really happy and really productive in your life, you have to enjoy spending your free time alone a little bit, because there's not always going to be situations where you can be social. This is the year that I want to make myself my own best friend. I want to be kinder to myself. I want to be more organised for my own sake, and I want to get into way more hobbies and not spend your time doom scrolling, because that is the thing that really kills it for me. So today I've compiled 30 plus hobbies to try that are actually either tried and tested by me or that are a little bit different to videos that you might see. There may be still a few obvious ones in there. So grab a cup of tea, grab a cup of coffee, and we'll run through some of these, and hopefully by the end of the video you will find a new hobby that you might want to try, or even a few. First category that I've got is mindfulness and organisation, and the first hobby that I've got written on here is actually a really good one to start the year off with. I actually did this last year. It's making vision boards. I did a yearly one, but you can definitely do quarterly ones, or you can do a halfway through the year sort of one. And yeah, just find loads of really aesthetic pictures. You can even use some of your own. Focus on the things that you really want to do and what you want your life to look like. Next up is listography. Now this might sound like a really boring one, but trust me, it's not. I don't know if anyone else loves making lists, and there are actual books that are dedicated to this. So I found some, and I've actually ordered some for myself. They're by an author called Lisa Nola, and she's got quite a few. She's got my future list, my life in list, the parent list, and I think lists can be one of two things. For example, like a to-do list, or you know, like a goals sort of list. I think those can be good to kind of keep yourself accountable. I also really love making a list of things that truly make me happy and keeping it updated, because obviously that can change from time to time. Like when I was at uni, things that made me happy was going out. I think that's one of my favourite lists to make, is things that genuinely keep me happy. It's almost like a dopamine menu. But then there's also idle lists. So both the books that I've ordered, one is a little bit more intense, and then the other one is a little bit more idle. It's things along the lines of list your favourite TV shows. It can be one of two things. I think it can kind of be really thought-provoking and really meaningful and keep you in check, and it can also be just really fun and idle and just kind of distracting. The next one that I've got is writing out your story. Imagine that you're writing a book, or imagine that you're writing a script for a film. Where do you start? One main character. Writing a sort of fictional story for this character. The character is you, and what you're aiming to do with this character is kind of make it realistic, but also kind of what the dream you would be like. I would just start off with loads of different questions. Where does she live? What time does she wake up? What does her morning routine look like? If she does work, what does she do in her time off? How does she engage with other people? And I think in a really funky and like creative way, this helps you to achieve your goals. I think if you see like a really huge description of what you want your life to be like, it's very similar but different obviously to something like a vision board. I also just think it's really fun imagining yourself as a main character of a story. Next one that I've got is gratitude journaling. Gratitude journals are just a really good way on reflecting and just being grateful for things, especially if you're not in a great state of mind. It can kind of just help to ground you and bring you back to earth and reality a little bit, and think, right, okay, things are a bit pants. What are some of the things around me that are great? Some of the prompts I've got is, how am I fortunate? What am I grateful for today? I am looking forward to. What positive difference did I make today, either for myself or for a person? When I go to work, for example, I just don't really enjoy working as a general. I am a waitress. Sometimes I forget that for me, going to work is, you know, I'm just a bit like, oh God. I forget that I make a positive difference in other people's days. I think that's a really good one if you're in a similar position to me. The next one is pretty obvious, but it is reading. Reading is a really good thing for the mind, because it just helps you get invested into a completely different world. I think this is just really good if you need a break from our world. Even if it's like 20 minutes, you can get so much reading done in 20 minutes. This can also be really good to get you out of the house. For example, you can visit a library and pick out some books from there, or you can also just take your own book out and go to a cafe. It can feel a little bit less daunting than if you were just to go out. I know for a lot of people, they don't really enjoy going out on the road, and that's why they prefer to stay in the house. But I think if you go with a book in hand, it feels a lot less weird to just be sat in a cafe. I've also jotted down alongside it that you can kind of start a social media or a scrapbook type journal thing, viewing your favourite books and the characters and what you'd change, what you'd improve. Then I've got letter writing. I've actually really gotten into letter writing at the moment. I'm actually doing a project to do with writing letters. It can be a really nice way to reflect because you can write the letters to yourself. You don't have to write them to anyone. It can just be a very fictional sort of thing. You can make up a character or two characters and write letters between them. You can write them to a family member. You could actually post them. Doing some where you send them to yourself would be really lovely, and then you can kind of look back on it as well in a few years' time. Also, what about writing love letters to yourself? Because the best thing to do is just to be kind to yourself. Just imagine yourself being the love of your life. The last one for this section is crosswords. I love crosswords. I am absolutely awful at them. You don't have to be good at every hobby that you do. I think they're just a great way to get your brain ticking, also a great distraction. Next up, I've got a few for health. This one is dance fit. I will stand and testify that I do not like working out, and dance fit for me is just a way more fun way to do that. As intense as like, right, do 10 of this and 10 of that. You're just dancing. Really great channels out there to follow along. Obviously you've probably seen the Fitness Marshall. I also like Grow with Joe, Mad Fit and Afri Fitness, but I don't think they make any videos anymore. Next up is yoga, and this is a really good one as well for mobility, for stretching. If you've got any pains, I for example always get a lot of pain in my back and in my feet. It doesn't have to be intense in the beginning, but it can get really intense. Also love all the stuff that comes alongside yoga, like the mindfulness and the meditation, spirituality, that side of things. And then in the same realm, we've got Pilates, and this is the same thing for yoga as well, but I forgot to mention it, that Pilates can actually encourage you to meet other people and get you out of the house, because you can obviously do both quite easily at home by following some YouTube videos, or you can find loads of different yoga and Pilates classes at the gym and stuff. So that's another way in which it can be good. Walking is such an obvious one. I mean, we literally do it every day. I think we forget how good walking can be. If you've got a dog, take your dog. There's also loads of activities that you can do whilst walking. For example, you could do some little flower picking, you could do some photography. I like to just have my headphones in, put some music on, or maybe even a podcast or something, and just make up those stories in my head as I go along. But obviously do be really careful, especially for my ladies. Make sure that obviously you're sending people your location and kind of keep them updated on your walk. I always make sure to have like one headphone in or have my volume really low and be really aware of what's around me. And obviously as well, make sure that you're going out when it's light and bright. I know anything can happen at any time, and we shouldn't have to worry about stuff like this, and we shouldn't be the ones that have to take on all this responsibility to make sure that we're safe. But that is really sadly the world that we are in. Last one for this section, it kind of doesn't make sense, but it does a little bit, but it would be bird watching. I think I'm going to get myself a little book on all the different types of birds you can find in the UK, and then things like I mentioned before, and activities to do when you're walking. I think I may just be really old at heart. My back hurts, I love bird watching. On to the biggest section of this video. This is the creative / just for fun hobbies. So the first one that I've got here is decoupage. Really don't need a lot of supplies for this. I use Mod Podge, a surface and napkins, obviously. It's really not hard to get into. That's why it's one of my favorite ones, because you can start it at all levels. I have decoupage shells and bookmarks, wooden things. You can do all sorts, and it has a really nice effect. You can even make people's birthday presents and Christmas presents by decoupaging. Punch needling / tufting, it kind of flows one into the other. So you start off by punch needling, where you have a little embroidery ring and some cloth. You punch threads through, and you might have seen it because it exploded a few years ago, I think during COVID, and I'm so happy that it did, because it's great. Punch needling as well, it's great to get your anger out. You can just make really fun things. You can make coasters, you can make little wall decorations, you can end up turning things into cushions. Tufting is the bigger version of that. You can get a frame and you can get an actual tufting gun, or if you get really good at this one and really enjoy it, this can actually be like a really good business idea. Sewing, I don't think there's anything more impressive than when someone can sew. I used to be able to sew on like a very, I don't know, not a beginner level, because I used to do it at college and at uni, but I just was never the best at it. I really just don't think there's anything more impressive than when someone asks you, oh my god, I love that, where's it from? And you can say, I made it. Key with this is just to start small. You can start by making scrunchies. You start with little pillowcases, makeup and cosmetics pouches, and then work your way up into making patterns. But also I never really enjoyed making patterns when I was at college and uni. There's loads of good ones that you can download from Etsy or get in a hobby or a fabric shop. Okay, next one, scrapbooking. This can be just so fun. Just let your mind explode. It's such a good creative outlet, and you can do a junk journal. You can do just nothing, just whatever you want to do. No theme to it, just completely go for it. Or you can go very themed and very like, okay, this theme for this page, a color. You can even just, I don't know, just generate it, have a wheel and have loads of ideas and spin the wheel every time you want to do a new page. This one is similar, but it's a memory collecting book. For example, if you've been on a really nice holiday or a really nice trip, you can do stuff that kind of will ignite your memories of that. For example, one of my favorite memories is the day that it was after the first COVID lockdown, and in the summer, me and my friends all moved into our first proper uni home. We were no longer in student accommodation, we were living in like an actual little townhouse. Oh my god, it was sick. I just remember getting in and it just being me and one of my other friends, because we were there first, and just having a beer. So for that memory, I would maybe, I don't know, get like the sofa that we used to have and a Corona, because that's the beer that we had, and print pictures of that out and stick it on there, and then maybe print out a picture from the first night of us all being there. I already briefly mentioned this, but photography is so good. It can get you out walking. Like I said, you don't need any fancy equipment either. Everyone's got a phone. You don't need a professional camera, but you can always get one, or you can use a film camera, which I love using, or even getting like a disposable camera. This is another one that I've briefly mentioned and that you can mix with walking, flower arranging. So you could pick your own flowers on your walk and then arrange those. Obviously, you can also just go to the supermarket and get some, or you could even get some dried flowers, because then it would preserve your little arranging sets, your bouquets. Mood boards. So this is different from vision boards for me, because mood boards can be just a lot more specific, like a style mood board, styles that you enjoy, maybe a nostalgia mood board, or maybe a mood board of a vibe that you want to embody. Styling, most of us do this on the daily, but styling some outfits, see it as going shopping in your own wardrobe and just picking stuff out. You can do it as flat lays and just lay out loads of different items of clothing together and make outfits on the floor, take some pictures of it, or you can actually physically dress up in loads of different outfits and try stuff, although that is a lot more exhausting than it sounds. You can also digitize your wardrobe. There's loads of different apps. You take pictures of your clothes and then it digitizes your wardrobe, like, you know, kind of Cher from Clueless, how she had that little thing. You can kind of do that these days as well, so that's another really good one, because then you've always got that to hand when you're bored or just need a distraction anywhere. Next one is beading, and this is one of my favorites. I mean, I have a small business that I do loads of beading. You do have to have a lot of patience with beading, but there's so many different types of beading. For example, there's just your normal kind of string beading, where you can make necklaces and bracelets and glasses chains. There's also loom beading. I don't exactly know what it's called, but I love loom beading. I used to have a loom and my auntie taught me how to do it, and I would love to get one again and start doing loom beading again. There's also stitch beading. I don't exactly know what it's called. I'm just kind of making up all the names right now, but one you can make coasters from and other fun things like that. This is one that I've not tried but looks really fun, and I'm wondering whether to get myself one day a little miniatures kit. Miniatures just look really fun. They're a lot cheaper than Lego, but they're quite similar. This looks quite fiddly. It does look like you have to have a lot of patience for this one. I find things I have to be very patient with very relaxing, and it teaches me to be patient. I used to get very like annoyed and just angry the first moment that something went wrong, whereas now I'm way more okay. And then I think they look super cute. I've seen loads of library ones, coffee shop ones, knitting or crochet. You can also do hand knitting as well. You could also do weaving. This could fall under the same category. Just really therapeutic. For example, I hand knitted bags with some really thick, it wasn't even wool, I don't even know what to describe it, it was like tubing, and that was really fun. I mean, the handbag didn't come out looking how I wanted it to, but it's okay, it's fine. Collaging and collage artwork. You can get like old newspapers, old magazines, old books, although that one can really hurt. And obviously you can just use a lot of digital pictures. You could also tie in your photography with this one and use pictures that you've taken, and then you can frame the artwork. YouTube and TikTok. This is how I started my YouTube channel. I had finished uni, I'd moved back home, I was bored. I'd kind of always wanted to have a YouTube channel, but I was never confident enough to do it. And then I thought, fuck it, I'm not doing anything else with my life. And actually, who cares if people think it's weird, or who cares if people judge me or they watch my videos and they laugh? There's probably going to be loads of people that watch my videos and enjoy them. And if there's not, then I will watch them myself. And I know my mum watches and she enjoys them. I think the best way to start a YouTube channel is just to do it for a hobby. Just find something that you're passionate about. It's kind of a way to spice up maybe a little bit of the mundaneness of your everyday life. They are literally meant to be digital blogs. Don't think too much into it. Just get really creative and just think of the stuff that you like watching. Creative writing, throwing it back to GCSE English. You can buy little books that give you prompts for short stories, but I think the best thing is sometimes just making up your own. Also encourages you to get out the house, because as much as you can just do it from the comfort of your sofa or your bed if you want to. You can go for a walk, or you can go into a cafe, or travel on the bus somewhere and stroll through a new town and make up a story about that. Things that you see a couple talking to each other. What are they talking about? You enter a really weird alleyway in a town. What is the weird alleyway? What shops are about? I don't know. I can't give you specifics right now, but it's just really fun. Helps you escape from the mundane life and our real world. Digital art. I just found digital art to be a lot more easier, and because it's much more about layering and just kind of the smarts behind art, for me anyway, I just find it a lot more interesting. Obviously, you might just prefer normal sketching, but then you can also turn your normal sketching, like paper drawings, into digital art too. Cooking. Hear me out. Making a recipe book alongside it. Obviously, cooking's like a really easy... Sorry, I always interchange how I say cooking and cooking. I'm from Stoke, it's a very weird area. Everyone else like me, and they have a folder on YouTube, a folder on TikTok, a folder on Instagram of recipes. And I have like 1,000 on TikTok, 100 on Instagram, and 200 on YouTube. And I never get to make half of them because there's just so many there, and they all stockpile. A little page in a journal and just, I don't know, maybe sketch out what it looked like and sketch all your different ingredients. Kind of like a mood, not a mood board, kind of like a sketch, a scrapbook. The third to last is a time capsule. I've always wanted to make one, but I've never got round to it. I think it's like a year-long thing that you can kind of collect and do and always have in the back of your mind, like, right, okay, I need this for my time capsule as well. Second to last, activity workbooks. I actually have one. It's called the Feminist Activity Book, and there's just so many great little tasks that you can do in here. A lot of people love colouring. I am not a colouring book fan. I just find it way too, I don't know, mundane for my brain maybe, but that's just me. That is my brain. A lot of people find it really relaxing. I can't call anything boring. I like bird watching and crosswords. But for me personally, I just prefer something with a little bit more zhuzh, and little activity books like this do have a little bit more zhuzh. I've got like paper crafts in here. I can cut out a girl and dress her. I've got a word search in here. I've got lists and loads of different things. Gemstone artwork. Now this has popped off recently. Similar to decoupage, you don't need many things to start it. Honestly, I think they look really fun and effective. I really want to do one, a little Coke can. It just reminds me of Trisha Paytas. That is it. That is all the hobbies I've got. I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope maybe this year that you pick one of these hobbies or a few of these to try. Let me know what hobbies that you are trying or want to try in 2025 in the comments down below. Thank you ever so much for watching, and if you did enjoy the video, I would appreciate a like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.